So in part two of our presentation here, we're really going to dive into the value of the SBIR and STTR programs. So what exactly do they bring to the table for small businesses? Well, so first of all, the question probably is, well, why would I go after this type of funding? What's important, or what does the SBIR program do to me, or do for me? So one of the biggest things is the SBIR award or an STTR award is actually equity-free investment into your company. And what we mean by that is it's non-dilutive. So if you go to venture capitalists, angel investors, anyone like that, they're going to want some sort of collateral. They're going to want a portion of the business. They're going to want a portion of the idea. They're going to want you to pony something up to make the deal sweet for them. But with these programs, there's none of that. You don't have to give up any portion of your business. You don't have to give up any portion of the idea. You don't even have to pay these back. They're not a loan. They're a grant, or in some cases a contract, which we're going to discuss the difference between granting and contracting agencies in part 3. But it also allows you to kind of do some work. It allows you to really test out the feasibility of what you're creating. It allows you to demonstrate that your idea has potential and it's going to lead somewhere. It also really does provide some great due diligence if you need to go after other funding, if you need to go after venture capitalists during your phase 3. You can point towards the awards you got and say, look, we demonstrated this. We removed a lot of the technical risk. We removed a lot of the hurdles. We have something that's ready to go. We just need manufacturing assistance now, or we need to set up supply lines, or we need to bring in people so that we can actually grow to where we need. It's a great way for you to show that both your potential product as well as your organization and your team have legs. You can move forward. You can continue on that march and on that pace for, commercial success. And it really does provide a great vehicle, which is sole source sales to the government. So typically when the government wants to buy something, a lot of times they have to open up an opportunity. They have to say, look, this is what we're looking for. We need people to submit on this. We'll actually go back and forth. We'll discuss this. SBIR and STTR are a way for them to, kind of short shrift that, though. They can actually look at a product that you developed because it had government funding for the development. They can actually just make a contract or a purchase order directly with you. They don't have to open it up for competition. You're not going to be competing against, the Lockheeds and the Raytheons and the AECOMs and everybody else out there in the world. You're going to have an opportunity to directly sell a product to a government customer and fulfill what they need. There's also some government purpose for the SBIR and STTR programs as well as business purpose. So as I mentioned before, the government really sees this as an investment opportunity. They're going to invest into the business. You're going to grow. You're going to have a larger tax base. You're going to have more job growth. You're going to have higher wages, and they're going to increase, what they get back in taxes. In fact, small businesses account for 44% of all economic activity in the United States. So by providing that platform for businesses to reach success, by providing that platform for them to be commercially viable, it really does benefit the government in the end. And it also builds a stronger innovation pipeline. So many people know that, there's the old adage, small businesses innovate, large businesses integrate. So small businesses are typically the ones at the forefront of making new ideas, making new products, kind of testing the waters for what's feasible and what can actually be produced. And, when you grow and thrive and, you sell more products, ultimately the government benefits. Now, along with what I listed before when I talked about, the business purpose for SBIR and STTR, one of the biggest things is how you need to think about it. So a lot of people kind of silo these awards out. They think about their phase one, and then they think about the phase two, and then they think about, well, how do I get to the commercial market? And really, that's kind of the wrong way to go about this. You need to think of this as one entire large overarching project. So with the phase one, how's that going to lead into a phase two? How's that going to be stronger? With the phase two, how's that going to lead me to market? How's it going to lead me to validate, my opinions on the customer and what they need? How am I going to tailor what I'm making towards a specific customer need and a specific customer pain point? You kind of need to plan, even from that phase one submission, how am I eventually going to reach the market? What resources do I need? What tools do I need? What access do I need? And you should be setting that up kind of at every step of the way. That's really the only way that you're, valuable, or how you're going to get value out of these programs, is if you think about this as one project that's going to get you to the marketplace. And it allows a business to continue going after and exercising all funding opportunities. That's really one of the things that businesses need to think about. So the SBIR and STTR programs, when you think about it on a regular research and development and kind of product development life cycle, it's not a lot of funding. It's probably not really enough to get you to the marketplace. And so you have to come up with other ideas. You have to kind of stretch. You have to look at what's available. And you really do need to just exhaust all those opportunities. That's one of the other clarions here, is by going after this funding, it really does set you up for, okay, I've been successful for this. I know there's these other funding opportunities. I've been through this cycle. I know how to create a project. I know how to create, a proposal. I know how to look at a budget and scope accordingly. I know how to put together kind of that pitch deck that's going to say, hey, this is why this is important. Hey, this is why you should care. Hey, this is why you should invest in this. So we already talked about a lot of the, benefits when it comes to the SBIR and STTR programs for small businesses. But one of the biggest benefits that people really don't think about is innovation is actually the building block for being a successful entrepreneur. So innovation makes you think outside of the box. It makes you think about, how do I stretch this? How do I kind of create something new? How do I drive value from this? And it kind of fosters that excitement. When you're innovative, you're working on new and incredible things. You're working on things that are potentially revolutionary. You're working on things that are going to change the world and set it on fire. So why wouldn't the rest of your company culture be that same way? It kind of drives a really great value for the business itself, not just, the value of a business. And innovation also, kind of helps companies grow. It leads to new ideas, and then you can take those products, and if you're innovative and agile, you can look at them again and again and again and say, well, this was great, but if I change this, if I modify this, if I make it work this way, if I change the package this way, well, here's a new market, here's a new customer segment, here's a new pain point that I'm actually addressing, here's a new value proposition I can make out of it. That key to innovation is to, be agile and just always think on your feet. So what do I do? How do I stretch? How do I change? How do I refresh? And those are all things that really kind of make innovation interesting at the end of the day. And, again, it allows you not only to sole source sale to the government, but gives you opportunities to be a supplier for, large companies or primes. So if you create a product, if you create something that someone wants to buy, and they want to buy 1 million of them, but you can only deliver 1,000 of them, you might be acquired. You might have a larger company that wants to license it out. You might be able to set up distribution deals. It allows you to grow in different ways, and a lot of times ways that kind of you never imagined. If you want to be the lead partner with, Rockwell Collins on something, that allows you to do that because you bring something to the table that's refreshing and new. You bring something to the table that they just don't have and they want, and it gives you leverage. So it's always great to kind of talk about the SBIR and STTR programs, but a lot of people take this information in a vacuum and they go, well, I don't know if these actually benefit. I don't know if this is for me. I don't know where I can go. Here's just a small sampling of companies that actually got their start using SBIR or STTR funding. As you can see, there's kind of some big names here, like, Qualcomm, 23andMe, Symantec, and even iRobot. And it might seem weird to think of iRobot. And, well, how did they get a start? I know that they make the vacuum cleaner, but that's not where they got started with the SBIR and STTR programs. They actually got started with this. So they made EOD removal robots for the Department of Defense. They got government funding to actually create something new, and create something that they needed. And then after they delivered those products, they really started to think. They went, well, how can we actually, use this? How can we break this down? How is this going to lead to something else? Where can we go? How can we look at this as component technologies? And they took that navigation, they took that pathfinding, they took kind of all of those different and disparate pieces, and they created this, the Roomba. They actually got started selling robotic vacuum cleaners by being successful under the SBIR programs, because they were able to break these things out into discrete projects. They were able to look at all of these requirements and create something that was new and something that, at the end of the day, people wanted to purchase. And that's kind of the real heart about these programs, is it lets you create something that you never knew was possible. And then allows you to kind of look at it again, and look at it again, and look at it again, and potentially get funding every step of that way.